Okay, so today's video, should the Six Nations expand? So do you reckon it's a good idea? Because obviously Georgia and stuff want to enter the Six Nations.
I think making it more of a, I guess, trying to make it a bit fairer to the lower sides, to the Rugby Europe sides. Make it more of a meritocracy in the sense that, if Italy, continue to finish bottom, then, and get relegated, it'd be fair if they faced Georgia or whoever was winning Rugby Europe over and over again.
So you'd want to see relegation, is that?
I don't know, because I'm thinking the Nations Championship is going to force something like this anyway, and I think they are keen for that. I think Bill Beaumont said he wants to revisit that with his manifesto.
Yeah.
So if we look at it like that, you've got, I think the part of it would be that there would be opportunities for a side to get in or to actually lodge their way into Six Nations. And I think a part of it was that the side comes bottom, then they would face in a playoff match the winners of Rugby Europe, which could be Georgia or whoever.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair because it doesn't seem fair to me, if Italy keep finishing bottom and say Georgia beat them in a summer test match, and then Georgia are above them in the world rankings, and everything would suggest they're a better side, but they're not allowed to be in. Then for me, there's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm actually quite okay with it in a weird way because I think Italy are a better team. But I think that would suggest there's already a flaw in what's going on when. I think I love the Six Nations more than anyone, by the way. I think it's fantastic. But at the same time, I as a true lover of rugby union, I want to see the sport as big as possible and play all around the world.
Yeah.
And I think, if we look, it's great. I know that Britain and Ireland and France, I know they hold a lot of the financial power and they carry the game. And I think I speak for myself. I really appreciate how good a job they've done for so long. But don't we want rugby to go into new territories and to truly expand it? I think because I don't think anything would be more beautiful than actually making it a truly sort of world game. I don't think anything would be. I think that that's what I want to see. I want to see rugby even just have a sort of a just not. It doesn't have to be football, but even if it was 1% of what football is, then I think we're doing a good job because football is a truly world global game, and I think that's the aspiration of rugby. It makes sense as well because you'd earn more money with more teams, but I think something needs to be done with the Six Nations because at one it's a guaranteed income and revenue, but at the same time, is it limiting the growth of the game with not expanding it, with letting Italy finish last over and over again, and not having sides have another crack at the whip.
Yeah. So what about a European competition then? Would you want to see that, or would you rather just see it be like the Eight Nations or something like that?
When you say what would the European
think when it comes to football, we have a Euros, don't we, every 4 years? Would you want to see something like that with rugby?
No. That doesn't. I mean, when we get to that stage, rugby is doing very, very well.
Yeah.
The reason it works with football is because you've got an unbelievable club calendar.
Yeah.
You've got Champions League, which is massive. FA Cup's massive. League Cup's even massive. All these things are huge. The Premier League is really important. And then that's why the Euros is quite low down the list.
Yeah.
And that's why the World Cup's low down the list in that sense. I mean, when they come around, everyone enjoys them and they are the biggest events, but the calendar's crammed anyway. We need rugby as a sport. We need the Six Nations once a year because we need that financial revenue. And we need all those eyes on the game every year. Otherwise, they'll forget about us potentially.
Yeah.
So I think it's not about destroying Six Nations or not making it annual. I think it's just adapting it in a way that will continue what it already does, which is make a lot of money and help a lot of rugby unions financially out, but also you find a way where rugby can grow more and reach untouched audiences.
All right, okay, fair enough. I think
boring, responsible answer. by the way. A very adult answer. But I'm talking seriously now because I actually care about it.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you, though. I mean, I would like to see Georgia introduced, but it needs to be done to a certain way where it's like not going to ruin the tradition. Because obviously it used to be the 5 nations, and it was the 6 nations. You don't want to be getting it to the point where it's like, oh, now it's the 9 nations. Do you know what I mean? You kind of want to adjust it a bit to the point where it's like it's more normal than it would be like as in the struggling team enter. If that makes sense.
You want a side who's going to add to it, don't you? I think you want a side that's really going to add to the tournament. There's no point putting Georgia in there if their World Cup final was Italy and they're getting smashed every match.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then they lose to Italy as well because you know So that I think, and even then I don't know if Georgia are the answer really. You know, I think they are the best side right now, but I think they did play Italy. I think reasonably.
Yeah, and I think they lost. They lost, didn't they?
By 20, 30 points. I think it's before the World Cup or something. But you know, so I don't think they're the answer right now either. It's more of a looking at the game overall.
Yeah. Okay. So what about South Africa then? Because there's rumours South Africa are leaving the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, like that would make more sense, see, because they would more than compete with all the teams.
Yeah, they probably win it every year.
Win it every year. Though I think they would struggle more than they think going away to all the Six Nations teams. You know,
True,
and that'd be more of a struggle than they think actually.
Yeah.
But a lot of their players play in Europe, so that actually makes sense.
And they're in the same time zone as well.
Same time zone. So that makes more sense, and we don't have to worry about them being good enough because they will. They'll be a serious threat to winning it every year.
Yeah.
The problem is the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, because I think the Rugby Championship wants to have New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, and Japan, and then potentially Fiji.
Problem is though the All Blacks then would be destroying everyone.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the problem. See, if they lose South Africa, that seriously weakens them in the weakens the tournament because Australia haven't been up to much for a while. Argentina at home can cause upsets, but Argentina, Australia are good sides, but they're not one of the best teams in the world anymore.
Yeah.
And the All Blacks always will be, it seems anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why South Africa are critical, because South Africa are the ones that at any time can overturn them.
Yeah.
Obviously South Africa won the Rugby Championship last year. So for me it's critical that we very careful these decisions now, because I think right now for the equilibrium, I think it's better to have South Africa in the Rugby Championship. The Six Nations is strong enough right now.
Yeah.
All you're doing for me, if you do that, is you make the Six Nations. You make the Six Nations basically nearly into a World Cup.
Yeah.
And then you turn, and then you just weaken the Rugby Championship. I think adding Fiji to the Rugby Championship and Japan's a great idea. You know, and if the All Blacks have a massive off day away at Japan, they could lose or something, and that would be great. To making the overall competition more competitive. So I think adding Japan and Fiji, great idea. But for me, taking South Africa out of it, disastrous, because then the All Blacks are just they're gonna crush Argentina, they're gonna crush Australia, they're gonna crush Fiji, and maybe away at Japan they might lose if they get like 2 red cards or something.
I think any team will lose if they get 2 red cards. It's not.
You know, it would take something like that for them to lose a match and it'd be away from home. You know, so I actually would love I'd love it to happen, but I think there might have really bad consequences for the Rugby Championship if you remove their second best team or best team.
Yeah. I mean, because I was thinking, like, what you could have is, say, Argentina pulls out of the Rugby Championship. They could have, they have a South American Championship anyway. It's called America's Rugby Championship. So if Argentina just focused on that, but then would that deteriorate them because they're playing against America, Canada, you know?
Horrendous. No offense, Andrew. I think it's a horrendous idea. I mean, and you know, Augustin Pichot, I know this from speaking to him. He fought tooth and nail for 5 years, I think. Yeah, it took. So when Argentina came third in the World Cup in 2007, Took 5 years to get them into the Rugby Championship.
Yeah.
5 years, and they've really been, they've been a lot more competitive year to year since then. I mean, I know they've still lost a lot as well, but they have been more competitive since 2012, since they entered. And I think overall the players and teams have, I think they've all improved because of that, playing these high level teams every year. And we've seen that they've overturned sides of serious quality. They've beaten Australia. I'm pretty sure they've beaten South Africa.
They've beaten, I think, the majority of all the teams in the Rugby Championship besides New Zealand. I'm pretty sure they have, yeah. So they've beaten. I know they've beaten Australia, and I'm pretty sure that they've drawn with South Africa. They might have beaten South Africa as well. I can't remember. So that's been a great decision. I think removing them from that would be disastrous. It'd just be a step back. You want more of these teams. If they're ready to compete, then you want them in these tournaments. You don't want to take them out of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, I think anyway.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like I said, it needs something. I would like to see something done to it, but it's just what that something is. I have no idea at this moment.
Add Fiji and Japan, I think. Make sure Fiji can select their players. Because when they've got a full strength starting 15, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You got Radradra, Pekili Yato from Claremont, some seriously awesome world-class players.
Yeah. But the only thing is, though, is the majority of Fiji's squad are all playing in Europe. So it's, again, to the clubs and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because you got South Africa, basically, the majority of their squad are playing in Super Rugby, maybe minus, say, about 5 or 6 of them in Europe. Okay, you got obviously some of their key players are playing in Europe, but like I said, the majority of them in Super Rugby. New Zealand, Super Rugby. Australia, basically Super Rugby. So is Argentina, and Japan, obviously in the top league. But with Fiji, the whole squad being in Europe, are they actually going to be able to fly out for the?
Maybe Fiji in the Six Nations would make more sense.
That's a hell of a flight, hell of an away game.
You have a good point, but what do you do then? Because they all play there.
Yeah.
The only way it would have to work if their players move to Super Rugby. That's really the only way it would have to work.
That Fiji should play in the Rugby Championship if they enter it, if the competition. You just need to have talk to the World Rugby would have to have a conversation with the unions.
Yeah.
Sorry, with the clubs and say, look, this is what we want to do. You need to release these guys. You can't just, you can't just force them to stay here. They want to play for their international teams, and this is great for the game, having Fiji competing on the world stage. Yeah. So I think that would, I know I recommended it, but it'd be pretty crazy having them in the Six Nations. I think that the away games to, where do they play the matches again?
Oh, what, Fiji?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Moa is Apia, I think.
Apia. Yeah. Suva. Fiji's Suva, I'm pretty sure.
Well done, Andrew. No, it is. It is Suva. Well, great shout. So yeah, again, a sensible plan that works the best. But I think having Fiji and Japan would better it.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, well, I think I kind of agree with you. I mean, Six Nations to expand, but within reason. South Africa should stay in the Rugby Championship, just because it's South Africa, it's a big nation, it needs to stay there. And yeah, you want to see the Rugby Championship expand as well, with possibility of Japan and Fiji. Does that sum it up?
I would really enjoy that. I think it turns it into its own sort of Six Nations. It gives it more. It does. Well, it does.
Yeah,
it'll be Six Nations. It'll literally be Six Nations in it then.
Yeah.
Right, there we go then. Hopefully, guys, you did enjoy today's video. As always, make sure you go ahead and check out Cam's channel in the link below. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. We will see you in another video. Peace out, guys.